There's something Carl Jung uncovered about the human psyche that most people will never truly grasp. And it could be the very thing that saves your sanity, even your life. Jung's insights into the narcissistic mind expose a terrifying truth. When a narcissist realizes they can no longer control you, they don't simply walk away. No, what follows is far more calculated, disturbing, and sinister than you might imagine. But before I reveal this devastating final tactic that Jung warned us about, you need to understand something profound about the narcissistic mind, something even many trained professionals often overlook. Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow, the dark, rejected aspects of our psyche that we avoid acknowledging. According to his pioneering work, narcissists have a particularly dangerous and volatile relationship with their shadow. What Jung revealed about narcissistic psychology will shatter everything you thought you understood about control and manipulation. But here's where things get truly terrifying. Most people don't realize they're dealing with a narcissist until they're already deeply entangled. Jung observed that narcissists don't just hide their shadow, they project it onto others. They see their own darkness mirrored in those around them. But when they encounter someone who recognizes their act, someone too aware, too emotionally sovereign to be controlled, their entire psychological structure begins to collapse. And this is where Jung's most chilling revelation comes into play. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could protect you from emotional and psychological ruin. According to Carl Jung, every one of us wears a persona, a social mask we present to the world. For most, it's just a role we play in society. But Jung discovered that, for narcissists, the persona becomes everything. It isn't just a mask, it is their entire identity. Here's the breakthrough that shocked the psychological world. When their persona is threatened, when someone sees beyond it, they don't just get defensive, they declare war. Jung called this the collapse of the inflated ego, a grandiose self-image used to defend against deeply buried feelings of worthlessness and shame. And here's the part most people don't understand. When you become too difficult to control, you don't just challenge the narcissist, you threaten the very foundation of their reality. Jung referred to this as a psychological emergency, triggering their most primitive survival mechanisms. Carl Jung discovered that narcissists go through 3 psychological stages. When they encounter someone, they can no longer dominate. Stage 1 is the testing phase. Here they subtly probe your emotional boundaries. Jung said they're searching for psychological weak points, emotional entryways where manipulation can take hold. But here's what Jung noticed that will chill you to the core. If you hold firm, if you resist their initial control attempts, you immediately become their psychological adversary. During this stage, narcissists are running what Jung called psychic reconnaissance, studying your behavior, your patterns, your vulnerabilities. Stage 2 is what Jung identified as the escalation phase. When subtle tactics fail, narcissists enter what he described as compensatory behavior. They double down, becoming more intense, more aggressive. This is when gaslighting, projection, and emotional manipulation ramp up. Jung observed that this isn't random. It's psychological warfare. It's a test to see if you'll crack. And if you don't, that's when narcissists bring in reinforcements. Jung discovered a chilling tactic here. They begin recruiting what are now known as flying monkeys, people who unknowingly assist in the abuse. These third parties become tools in the narcissist's arsenal, manipulated into believing a false narrative. This prepares the ground for what Jung described as the most dangerous and devastating phase of all, stage 3, the recognition phase. This is when the narcissist comes to a terrifying realization. You are immune to their manipulation. Jung called this narcissistic mortification, a psychological wound so severe it threatens their entire sense of self. And this is when they initiate their final dirtiest trick. According to Jung, when direct control fails, narcissists resort to something he called psychological inversion. They try to flip the script, making you question your reality, your sanity, your very identity. In this stage, they assume the role of victim and paint you as the aggressor. Jung called it shadow projection on steroids. And it works because it taps into what Jung described as the collective unconscious, the shared human tendency to sympathize with perceived victims. They exploit this instinct ruthlessly, but the manipulation doesn't stop there. Jung revealed the narcissist's true intent, social and emotional isolation. Their final trick is not about control, it's about destruction. Narcissists understand that humans need community, connection, and belonging, so they begin a carefully orchestrated campaign to destroy your reputation and relationships. Jung noted that they do this by planting seeds of doubt in the minds of those around you, friends, family, co-workers. They subtly shift the narrative in their favor. And here's the terrifying part. Jung found they use a strategy he called truth sandwiching, embedding lies between bits of truth, to make the deception harder to detect. This tricks the brain's natural pattern recognition and makes the falsehoods seem believable. Your support system begins to falter. People become confused, unsure of what to believe. The narcissist's manipulation takes root. At this point, narcissists intensify their projections. According to Jung, they assign their own negative qualities to you. If they lie, you're the liar. If they manipulate, you're the manipulator. This isn't just gaslighting, it's a total inversion of reality. Jung said this technique works because of what he called confirmation bias amplification. Once someone hears a piece of your personality, they unconsciously begin looking for more evidence to support it. This is why the narcissist's manipulation is so powerful. It hijacks your identity. Jung explained that they aren't just lying about you. They're replacing your reality with theirs, and they time it perfectly. Jung discovered that narcissists instinctively know when to strike. When you're grieving, stressed, or dealing with major life changes. In these moments, your psychological defenses are down, and their final manipulation becomes exponentially more effective. They ramp up the gaslighting, and this time it's not subtle. Jung called this psychological reality erosion. They don't just dispute specific events, they dismantle your confidence in your memory, perception, and reasoning. The goal? Total psychological submission. They want you so disoriented that you surrender not only the truth, but your entire identity. Jung observed that narcissists also manipulate group psychology. When they can't break you directly, they influence the people around you to do it for them. They create what seems like a social consensus against you. Jung explained that narcissists target empathetic individuals, those who are naturally inclined to help. These people become pawns in the narcissist's narrative, drawn in by what Jung called the helper psychology. The narcissist's strategy now shifts toward what Jung termed systematic character destruction. This goes beyond smear campaigns. It's about deconstructing your core identity. Jung found that they reframe your best qualities into flaws. Your independence becomes selfishness. Your confidence is recast as arrogance. Your boundaries are painted as cruelty. This technique works because it contains grains of truth. Every virtue, Jung explained, can be twisted just enough to appear toxic. And this twisting is what makes their emotional terrorism so devastating. Jung revealed that narcissists weaponize the intimate knowledge they gained about you. They target your deepest insecurities and emotional wounds with surgical precision. The goal isn't just to hurt you, it's to break your will. According to Jung's research, they want to push you past your psychological breaking point, where the pain becomes so overwhelming that you'll do anything to make it stop, including surrendering to their distorted version of reality. This is psychological warfare at its most sophisticated. Jung called it emotional terrorism. And if you're wondering why you couldn't fight back sooner, Jung had an answer for that too. He discovered that narcissists deliberately create chaos, what he referred to as false urgency. They manufacture crises to keep you in a reactive, panicked state. In this state, you don't think clearly. You're too busy surviving to notice patterns or form a plan. Jung explained that this chaos keeps you stuck in survival mode, unable to break free. But there are signs. Jung said the narcissist's desperation will become obvious as they escalate their attacks. They'll involve more people. They'll act erratically. They'll lash out with increasing venom. Jung called this manipulation acceleration, a frantic final attempt to regain control as their facade crumbles. And here's where Jung offered hope. He said the way out lies in what he called psychological detachment, the ability to observe their behavior without getting emotionally pulled in. But the most powerful tool, Jung explained, is cultivating what he called the observer self, the part of your consciousness that watches your thoughts and feelings without being overwhelmed by them. This is your key to freedom. When you can see their tactics not as personal, but as psychological phenomena, you take your power back. Jung said detachment isn't coldness, it's strength. And to anchor yourself in reality, he recommended documenting everything. Memories can be manipulated, but written records protect your mind from what Jung called manufactured amnesia. Healing begins with what Jung called shadow integration, facing what you've been through without letting it define you. The ultimate reward, according to Jung, psychological individuation, the birth of your true self. Jung observed that those who survive narcissistic manipulation emerge wiser, stronger, and far more perceptive than before. They become warriors. Their intuition sharpens. Their boundaries strengthen. They spot manipulation before it ever touches them. And that awareness becomes the greatest shield. Carl Jung's most profound discovery about narcissistic manipulation is this: it only works when you participate in the narcissist's game. The moment you stop playing, you win. Narcissists appear powerful, but Jung found they're actually deeply fragile, frightened. Children trapped in adult bodies, terrified of being exposed. Jung's message is clear: you are stronger than their illusions. You are wiser than their games, and you are free to reclaim the life that was always meant to be yours. When a narcissist sees you as too dangerous to manipulate, it means you've already won. Thank you for staying with me through this deep psychological exploration. If this video helped you see more clearly, please subscribe and share it with someone who might need this truth. And if you'd like to support this channel's work, you can leave a super thanks below. It truly helps keep these insights alive.